meeting of the new year. I think everyone's had a nice start. Want to call the board's attention to a couple of items that are on our under superintendent's comments. The first is the Board of Education Code of Ethics approval, and we'll approve that on Monday night. It's the annual Code of Ethics that we approve in the same manner that our teachers and staff members sign. Also, we have our date, Friday, March the 15th, 2024, for our spring BOE retreat. And we will continue to work on the agenda for that and keep you updated on that. I want to say it's been a great 3 weeks of school. Anytime you start a new semester, you have a transition. At the high school level, many students have a new schedule this semester with block scheduling, and that's off to a great start. The weather has been a challenge for us over the last few weeks, but I want to thank our staff for going the extra mile, from opening car doors in the mornings at our schools to serving healthy meals and breakfast and lunch, to our bus drivers taking care of our students and getting them to and from school safely. This has been a concerted effort by many. And so thank you to all of those individuals that have had a hand in that, and really appreciate our community support in getting our students to school and getting them home safely. It's an exciting time for our school district. Our leaders have some outstanding things that they'll be sharing this evening with us. Also, much progress has been made on the construction of Heroes Elementary School, and they've been working on the building, and we've been working on the team. So I want to introduce Ms. Christy Holloway. Ms. Holloway, you want to stand up for us? Ms. Holloway is the inaugural principal of Heroes Elementary School, and we're glad to have you on our team, Ms. Holloway, and thank you for being here this evening. So. Thank you, Ms. Holloway. Our winter sports and activities are well underway as well. Basketball, wrestling, swim are right there in the middle of their seasons. For our middle schools, I know there's a big game this evening in Commerce for our East Jackson Middle School boys basketball team. They had a great game last night against Legacy Knoll. I may have a vested interest in that one. And so also want to say congrats. Our Legacy Knoll West Middle wrestling team are the Peach State dual champions, and they actually finished third in the middle school state duals. And our swim teams at the middle school have finished second in the North Georgia Middle School Championships. Our high schools, both boys and girls basketball teams at both high schools, are in the middle of region play. The Jackson County High School swim teams won 2 events this year, and they already have 6 qualifying state events. We've also, in that transition, turned over into spring sports. It is nice. I saw the Legacy Knoll baseball team as I was driving over. It was nice and cold for them this afternoon. I'm sure they're enjoying baseball right now. We also have kicked off lacrosse at Jackson County High School, which is our newest sport. So amazing things are happening. Kids are active. And I want to thank the staff, the teachers, and the support staff for all they're doing to get school off to a great start. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
All right, Well, good evening, and it has been a busy and productive start to 2024 in the teaching and learning team, and we've been out in schools quite a bit, and it's been great to see how focused our leaders and our teachers are. I always said when I was in the building, and certainly now across the district, I'm excited to see just how critical that time from January to March is. It's some of the best uninterrupted instructional time, and so just to see everybody putting in that hard, focused work. We've been out doing school improvement meetings with our leaders, and to kind of hear how they've taken that mid-year data, the adjustments they've made, the discussions they've had with their leadership teams. It's very exciting to see. So we are looking forward to that spring bloom after this stretch of good, strong instructional work. Tonight I'm going to bring to you the CCRPI highlights. So this is all data that we've shared with you, but as you know, the state kind of takes this and puts it together through different lenses just to help us make sure that we're making progress in all areas. And as you all know, we are very proud of making significant progress in all of these different areas. And then we have some focused areas where we are still really digging in and doing that work. So I'll just provide you some of those highlights tonight. So if you'll roll on to the next slide for me, just a reminder of the areas reported in the CCRPI. There have been some changes, and there was an amendment passed in October of 23 that eliminated the CCRPI overall score. So you no longer have that overall score that we used to have for each school. Instead, the data is reported on that 0 to 100 scale for each of these different components. So that's what I'll go over with you tonight. So just a reminder of what those areas are. There's content mastery, progress, closing the gaps, readiness, and graduation rate. And I'll talk about each of those as we roll through those. And as a reminder, the assessment data that's used, of course, the Georgia Milestones end of grade assessments for grades 3 through 8. And the end of course assessments in high school, American Lit, Algebra, Biology, and U.S. History. And then additionally, the GAA and Access for ELs. So looking first at content mastery, this is an area where we've had really significant improvements, and also you can see the state comparison there. So this is where that achievement rating is taken into account, and we earn different point values based on where students are scoring. So the levels are beginning learner, developing learner, proficient learner, and distinguished learner. And we're always shooting for those level 3s and 4s. We always really want the expectation for our students to reach proficiency. So as we write our school improvement and our system improvement plan, that's always our goal there. But you can see how those different point values are assigned, and then there's an overall achievement rating. And then also the GAA is taken into account the same way there. So you can see our content mastery for elementary went up significantly. It actually went up 5.4 points over last year, so that's a great increase. And again, this is all the same data that we've already shared with you, and we knew that we had great gains, but it's great to see it here in this way. And then middle school also went up 1.4 points, and we had just a little bit of a decrease in high school, continuing to do that work at content mastery in high school, but still well above the state average there. All right, rolling on with progress. So this is where we are looking at just how much growth our students are showing relative to their academic peers. So this is where they refer to an SGP, a student growth percentile, and it's really looking at just how our students are moving. So again, great progress there in our growth, but this actually was not reported on the CCRPI last year. So as you know, there have been changes over the years, and especially as we came back from COVID, there were certain areas that were not reported in the last several years, and this is one of those areas. So we don't have a comparison over last year, but we know that, again, we're making great gains in this area and very strong scores, again, looking at how we compare to the state averages there, especially in elementary. We're really glad to see that continued growth and continuing to work in that area.
May I just ask?
Mm-hmm. We did not have we do not have a comparison on progress. That's correct. And you know, as we think about the work that we have in progress this year, and we think about really putting in place those high-quality curriculum resources and the common assessments, we know that this will help us continue to gauge this along the way. And it's really helpful, too, because now we have ways to kind of monitor how we're doing throughout the year. You don't want to get to the end and say, oh, we didn't hit it again. Now we have those common assessments in place, and one great thing is that we've been able to look at those and recognize that they're very closely aligned to the scores that we're seeing on the end of course test. So that really helps us in terms of setting that expectation and making sure that we're supporting students and reaching that. All right, and then for the next one, for readiness, this is really looking at how our students are demonstrating readiness for that next level college and career. And there are two different ways. This is calculated differently for elementary and middle versus high school. So for our elementary and middle students, it looks at literacy. And this is where that grade band literacy on grade level metric is used. And I'll explain because there were just a few adjustments to that metric. That's looking at their Lexile. And this also added back in this year for the first time since COVID student attendance, looking at the percent of students missing 10% or fewer of enrolled days. So once they get past that 10%, that's where we're looking at that to make sure that we don't have a lot of students in that area and that we're attending to that. And then beyond the core for elementary is passing a fine arts or a world language course. So that's the three pieces that are calculated there, and you can see how they're calculated in there for elementary and middle. And then for high school, the next slide will show us what that is. If you don't mind just going to that one, and then I'll go back to the data there. There are 5 readiness indicators for high school. So again, the first 3, the literacy, grade band Lexile, the student attendance, and then it also adds in the accelerated enrollment, looking at AP, dual enrollment, pathway completion, and then college and career readiness based on having a score on the ACT, SAT, or ASVAB. And as you know, we put in place this year a district assessment date. We feel like that will really help us in the future. Of course, that was not in place for this data, but just making sure that our students have that opportunity to take a test like the ACT or the ASVAB and making that very accessible here in the district, we feel like will really help us with that. Now, if you'll go back to the data, you can see how we're doing there, and so you can also see the state comparison. But in terms of readiness, and last year we didn't have all of these different components for readiness, so it's really not a fair comparison to last year because, as I mentioned, attendance came back in this year. But very strong scores in comparison to the state. And so, one of the things, and let me go ahead and just explain the changes in the literacy metric because that certainly does factor in here. But previously, on grade level reading was established by the midpoint of the Lexile. So whereas previously in 3rd grade, a student had to reach that 670, now they have to reach the 520. So it's really just casting a little wider net in terms of what is considered on grade level. And as you know, there's been a lot of research and a lot of discussion around literacy. And so in some ways it might seem that we're lowering that expectation a little bit, but really it's just looking at if the student is somewhere within that stretch Lexile band, we're going to say that's on grade level. So just knowing that that metric has changed a little bit there. And that change is a little more significant for the lower grade levels. Any questions about that? I know those are quite a few changes, and CCRPI always has a lot of ins and outs, and I try to make sure that I've dug into all of the pieces of that. But any questions about those different components that I've shared so far?
I just wanted to ask one more thing about, since they have put the student attendance back in, was it at 10% before?
It was before.
Okay.
It just hasn't
curious,
been
'cause I didn't
reported
remember. Okay.
since COVID.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so if you'll move on to that last slide for me. And then finally, graduation rate, of course, is a piece there. And so we have continue to be proud of having a nice, strong graduation rate well above the state average. So again, just to kind of highlight the areas that we're really proud of, in elementary, we have really made significant progress on content mastery, on closing the gaps that particular piece was not in there, but we had a score of 90.7 in comparison with the states being 66.7 for elementary. And so just really recognizing the work that's going on to make sure that we're meeting all the needs of our kids. Progress for elementary also was very strong. And then our graduation rate. So I think those are just a few areas, just as we think about the work that we're doing, and we know that good, solid instructional work takes time, and we know we have some areas that we're still really working on, that we will never be satisfied until we have all of those areas at the top. But it's also great to see the significant progress that we've been making. And I think as we continue to stay the course with the work that we're doing and keeping, we've done a lot of professional learning, and our teachers are engaged in good, high-quality PLCs, and that's going to continue to pay off for us. So we appreciate all of your support with that work. Thank you. And just a couple of other things I wanted to share with you, not on the presentation, but you may have seen the state has been putting out a lot of competitive grants lately, and so I'm really proud of our team for always going for those when they come up, and we have received a couple of really great ones recently. We are getting $97,685 for the Math K-5 Numeracy Grant, and that's focused on professional learning. So that's going to allow us to do some really deep professional learning for our K-5 teachers. It will include the Northeast Georgia RESA problem-solving course, which is very beneficial. It'll allow us to continue our design team work. We have some training on the use of our math manipulatives, and it will also allow us to do some extra support for our induction and new teachers. So we're really excited about that work. We're also going to be weaving in some STEM components and, how do we use robotics and tie those pieces in with math. So exciting for our math teachers across the district and the work that we'll be able to do with them there. And then also we received the Science Teacher Equipment Grant for $4,500. So that will allow us to send several new science teachers, either new or new to the content area, to the GSTA conference. And then it also allows them to purchase some supplies to implement the ideas that they see there with some follow-up support from the Georgia Department of Education. So we're excited about those opportunities for our teachers. Yeah. And then finally, I just wanted to share with you, as you know, pre-K registration has been open for a little bit. Probably you might have seen that. It's been open since December 1st and closes on February 16th. And then we'll have the drawing for our pre-K lottery drawing will be on March 12th. And then also on Monday, we will open up registration for the upcoming school year for 24-25, and so that will include kindergarten registration. So we've been putting out a lot of publicity about that to get our new kindergarten students registered. And then for the first time, we'll be doing a central kindergarten roundup. So that will happen here at Central Registration. And so the team has been working really hard to make that a wow experience for all of our families. They're working on kind of a theme. And so the schools will be coming in for a designated day. So it'll be the school that the kindergarten teachers and the folks from the school will be here. We'll just be able to provide the same experience for all of our families and make sure that we're able to get all of the documents and follow-up pieces that sometimes are hard for them to kind of get back to the school. So it will allow us to support them that way. And then the schools will follow up with some engagement activities, tours, and ways to get them into the building so that they can know where, feel confident about where their student is attending as well. So we're excited about that. All right, well, thank you for allowing me the time to share a little update.
All right, well, good evening. Just a couple of updates from the world of human resources. Staffing allocation meetings, we have been having those with principals and directors of departments. Those have started and will continue into next week. Those are the meetings where we look at our earnings from FTE and allocate our staff to ensure we're doing it equitably and making sure our schools and departments have all of the personnel that they need to be efficient. We are on track with our HEROES personnel timeline. You'll see some transfers on your Monday night personnel agenda, and that means we've wrapped up our first round, and we'll start our second round of transfers for any of those positions that are still hanging out there. Give our folks, our people, the opportunity first. After that, then we'll start our outside hiring for HEROES, but super excited that we are on track with that timeline. On the personnel report this evening, you'll begin to see retirements and resignations for the end of the school year. As we're receiving those, we're going ahead and processing them. That just sets us up for success for hiring early. And if those people have made that decision to retire, we're going to go ahead and process them now, but of course we will celebrate them at the end of the school year. But if you see those coming through, we're just going to process them as we get them and celebrate later. We are getting ready to hit the road for job fairs. Mr. Hooper and I and some of our principals will be visiting several colleges and universities over the next couple of weeks and months. But we're super excited about our career fair that's coming up Saturday, January 27th. It was such a success last year, and so we are excited to expand it this year and look forward to welcoming people. We'll be hiring for all positions, so bus drivers, bus monitors, custodians, parapros, teachers, so please help us spread the word about that. We are getting a lot of likes and hits on social media, so we expect to have a big turnout for that fair. So it is a busy, but it is a fun time in HR right now because we are preparing to hire and some amazing teammates and prepare for our next school year. Any questions related to any of that? Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it.
Good evening, board. I'll start tonight to recognizing Dr. Brown. I'll make this quick, Doc. But the National School Public Relations Association did name Dr. Brown to the top superintendents to watch list. So this recognition acknowledges the work being done by Dr. Brown to provide transparent and effective communication from his leadership position to both external and internal stakeholders. So as someone who does communications in our school system, I appreciate Dr. Brown and his leadership and his support of our communication. So well deserved, and I'll move on before you mute that mic. So I'll start moving forward. We were talking about recruiting, like Ms. Todd was talking about, future educators and school system employees. We're in that hiring season. The career fair is coming up. But one thing we wanted to do was emphasize our recruiting this season was building a better web presence and social media. Your websites are that digital footprint along with your social media. So we have got a new URL, jacksonschoolsga.org/careers. We have a new kind of slogan, success at JCSS has kind of been what we've been using. And to kind of recruit our educators and employees, success lives here. We want to emphasize that success can look like any employee. And so we have this new webpage. And as you scroll through it, you'll see that you can apply, you can look at the openings. We want you to begin and finish your career with us. What does that look like? What's about Jackson County? If you don't live in Jackson County, what does that look like? Well, here's our local municipalities. How many residents do we have? Where are we located? What does teaching in Jackson County look like? One of the things we get at job fairs is, what does our professional development look like? Do I get a mentor? So we've teamed up with Teaching and Learning. We've continuing to add to our professional development page, compensation. You look at the open teaching positions right there. And then our support positions. I'm really excited about the support positions. You can view and open them, but then as you can learn more about the support positions, so bus driver, custodial, as you work through those, take you to the pages, you can learn about those. And what we did was we took some of those videos that we had at our teacher and support person of the year banquet, like for bus driver of the year, one of our parapros was support person. We put those on the page to let people hear what they're saying about those positions and those people. So I'm very excited about those pages. They can click and look at that. You can learn about our compensation, our benefits, and then apply to be a substitute. And so this is just the beginning of this page. We're going to build it out, but I think it's a really great start and really want to drive people to come and learn about us and learn about the positions and then immediately click and look at those openings and apply. So that's something we'll continue to add to. The next step, I said website and then social media when we talk about recruitment. Obviously, our social media is a huge thing. I looked at the other day, our Facebook page has reached 225,000 accounts in 30 days. It's awesome. So part of that is the amount the job posts, the career fair is getting shared. So we're reaching a lot of people. But one thing we want to do is create some content to drive people to our page that maybe haven't seen it. And so for anybody that's on social media a lot, when you're bored, you watch a lot of Instagram reels and you're kind of swiping through videos. And so one thing we said was create a video, put it out there. People are swiping, they see this video, then they go to click on your page. So we've created a new video living off our Success Lives Here that we're trying to drive home. And I want to share, it's 45 seconds. It's going to go on social media next week. And kind of want to show you, if we can pull that video up, show you what we got.
I am success. I am what success looks like.
I am success.
I am what success looks like.
I am success.
I am what success looks like.
I am success.
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 Success. Success.
Success.
Success.
Success.
Success.
Success lives here.
Hey, I'm Philip Brown, proud school superintendent in Jackson County. I want to invite you to join our team. Please go to our Jackson County Schools website and click on the careers page. Look forward to seeing you soon.
So that'll go on social media next week. That's short and sweet, keeps their attention for they want to swipe off. Hopefully they click on our page, learn a little more about our school system, go to our website, and we'll be able to apply and want to work here. So speaking of the job graphic, we put up a graphic the other day, and we have the URL, and people have to type that in. I texted Ms. Todd that 30 minutes after our job post had been put up, their URL, we had 19 people type that URL into our website and into their browser and go to that. Like, there wasn't a link they could click. They had to type that in. So people are looking for it and researching. So I'm excited to put that out. And our staff, and Ms. Wheeler, you had some good ones right there. Success, very intense. Wesley Wheeler, very intense. And I told him, do it any way you want. And that's what he chose. So I was full throttle with it. So one thing we started doing, I want to talk about is we've started holding monthly family engagement meetings inside our school system. So we've been coordinating with Ms. Linda Bell, our Director of Federal Programs, and we met with representatives from every school in our school system last Tuesday in the rain at Jackson County High School. Well, we were inside, but they had to walk in the rain to get there. You know what I mean? And so we talked about what does family engagement look like in our school system. Our parents and families feeling welcome the minute they walk inside our doors. Our parents and families coming in, and are they learning about the educational curriculum? Are they walking away with stuff that they feel like they're more invested in their curriculum? Are they coming in to eat lunch with them, or are they walking away with more than that? So we really talked about what all this looked like and how we can get better and get more systematic at family engagement. And this wasn't just myself and Ms. Bell talking, it was school saying what's working for us, what we've tried and has not worked. Well, why did it not work for you? Well, it might work for them. And so it's really, these are collaborative sessions. They're going to happen once a month, and schools are going to talk about that. And so what we've realized is that one school might be doing something, the other school had no idea. So we bring everybody together and talk about it and what works and ways to succeed and get more people. And then you've got the same 100 coming in the door. How do you get the next 100? And then the next 100 after that? Or how do you get the next 10? And so we really talked about that. I was really encouraged by it. A lot of great feedback. And we incorporate the Title I requirements into that. So very excited about that and moving forward with that as we go down the road. Final piece tonight, kind of fitting Mr. Buffington's here, but 150 students in the past month have received a laminated copy and a signed letter of newspaper clippings that they have been in the paper, and a signed letter from Dr. Brown saying, thank you for representing our school system. And that is because they're going out and competing at technology competitions or Lego robotics, or they're in athletics or performing arts or FFA. And we submit that to the newspaper. We have a great partnership with Mr. Buffington and Ben Monroe at our 2 local newspapers. And so 150 kids have gotten that laminated copy of the newspaper, a letter from Dr. Brown, and really Sierra Roberts does it all. She's the one that takes the newspapers and makes the copies and gets the letters and drops them on Dr. Brown's desk. And so really proud of that. I think that just shows our students, hey, you're doing great things. We're proud of you. Builds that community. So really proud. And Mike, thank you so much for helping us make that possible. So any questions tonight? All right. Thank you all.
Good evening, members of the board and Dr. Brown. Good to see you all this great night, a cold night. Let's talk about enrollment for just a moment, if we could. Ed's going to have to update that website because it said 10.6, but we are now over 10.7. And the number for January is 10,715 students enrolled in Jackson County schools. That is a number of 71 new students in January. as of January 8th, excuse me, and that's 615 students added since the end of last year, just to keep us all abreast of the fact that we are still growing, and we're grateful for that growth. And it's relatively even across the board, but we did see quite a bit in this month for North Jackson and for West Jackson Elementary. We also saw quite a bit at Jackson County High School, so those are some of the ones that were kind of highlighted there. East Jackson High School added 8 students for this particular month. So enrollment continues to trend in the direction that we kind of thought it might, and with all the growth that we're seeing in our county, I don't see that slowing down very much, if at all. So we'll continue to try to prepare and meet that need as more and more students enter our system, and we have opportunities to be blessed by a growing population. It's going to be good. The other thing I just wanted to share with you is a partnership that we're very excited about that we're entering in with A Better Way Athletics, and this is an opportunity for us to provide some support for all of our coaches in Jackson County. And you know, the important work that these coaches do with our young people and with the families of our district, we felt like it would be great to give them a little bit greater level of support. Sometimes, you know, we have some people that come in and start coaching and maybe don't have a breadth of experience and a depth to be able to deal with the relationship piece that sometimes comes with that, the practice planning, all the pieces that come with building a successful program. Instead of having them in some ways just learn on the job, we wanted to give them some support. And so we believe that A Better Way and the partnership we've formed with them will allow our athletic directors to provide some of that support through the program, but also for our coaches to be able to reach out and get support in building their program, communicating with their players, communicating with their parents, and even with each other. And so we're grateful for this partnership, and we begin implementing that over the next few months and have it fully engaged, I think, by next year. So we're excited for that. Any questions for me about enrollment or our partnership with A Better Way? Appreciate y'all so much. Thank you.
Good evening, Board. It's always super fun for me to present because it's great financial information, and this is a great time of year because we've got that tax money that's been coming in, and it makes my job a little bit easier having those extra funds in the bank account. But we'll start with looking at SPLOST, and as you can see, we are above last month, above last year as far as the collections, and also our 12-month average is increased almost to 1.18 million. So everything is increasing, and our available balance is a little low, but that's okay because we are building and finishing an elementary school with no debt. So it's a great thing to see. And then with our financials and our fund balance, you can see that it's a little lower than it was at this time last year. But again, right now, it all has to do with timing and timing of those tax deposits. And in fact, the first couple of days when we came back after the Christmas break, we got another $10 million in tax revenue. So had that been a couple of days earlier, this would have actually been closer to 47 million than 37. So it's coming in great. I have to give kudos to our tax commissioner and her staff and how diligent they are with collections, because we are actually at, I think, close to 50 million of the 59 million that we had budgeted for tax revenue. So they do a great job at staying on top of that and getting that collected for us. And then if you want to look at our financials, you can see that our revenues now, of course, are above where we are at this point in the year because we are, again, collecting those tax revenues. And then our expenditures are a little bit above, but again, that has to do with those open purchase orders that are sitting out there, so it's not anything that we've actually paid yet, but with state reporting requirements, we are required to present that to you and so that you know that those things are sitting out there and they will eventually get paid. And then the last piece of information that I have to bring to you is actually very exciting for all of our employees. I'm sure you heard before we got out for the Christmas break that the governor had awarded a retention bonus to state employees and school system employees. And we have researched that and reviewed it, and determined that we would like to recommend that we give that bonus to all of our full-time staff. Of course, this wouldn't include temporary or after-school workers or, anybody that's a contracted service. So just to put that out there so that people are aware. But our recommendation is to give this to all employees, and of course, for those that are part-time or return-to-work retirees, it would be prorated to whatever percent of time that they work. And also, anybody that was hired after October, theirs will also be prorated based on the fact that they haven't been with us very long. So the impact on the general fund is about $185,000 to do this. But we feel like that, if one group or, a few groups deserve it, then everybody in the system works extremely hard, and we want to retain them, and we feel like that everybody deserves it, and we're in a great financial place. And so our recommendation is to supplement the governor's bonus and award it to all of our full-time employees.
And this would happen when?
Immediately. So we're actually going to do a separate payroll process so that we can, if it's approved, if you approve it, then we're going to do a separate payroll process and get this out to our staff as soon as possible. Any questions? Thank you.
Don't know why I'm always last, but I'm last. Seems like I'm always last. Board, I do appreciate the opportunity. Just proud of our operations staff. They continue to work hard. Got a lot of great things going on. I heard Dr. Brown applaud it. During our cold season, wet season, a lot of rain, cold brings challenges. Our maintenance staff are working day and night to keep our schools open, to keep our pipes not frozen, and those type of things. And this weekend will bring more challenges. Our pupil transportation staff have been amazing. Dwayne and his supervisory staff are just doing great things there. We're excited about what they're doing, but ultimately our bus drivers are getting up and getting our kids to school safe and sound, and that's important. Our monitors, our technicians, they're just doing a great job in those areas. School nutrition, I certainly don't leave them behind, or our custodians. All of our groups are doing tremendous jobs. I call them rock stars because that's really what they are. They're there every day doing a lot of work behind the scenes. Seen great teamwork between all of our groups. They work really well together. It's really exciting to be able to watch them from my scope and my lens. I can't say enough about that. We saw some very challenging days in the last few weeks, those rain days where many schools around us, many systems chose to delay or maybe not show up, and our folks got up and picked our kids up. Our parents got our students ready. We really feel like that's the safest place for our kids to be when we can get them there. And so many, that is the best place for them to be. Sometimes when power cuts out, we're trying to get our kids to school, and we're going to have power for more than likely in our schools. It's a warm place for them, so we're going to feed them and those type of things. So a lot of things there that the public doesn't always see. That behind the scenes we're working very hard to get through those challenges. I kind of am embarrassed that I can say that we sit at the office and watch cameras of our staff unloading kids in the rain, unloading buses in the rain. We probably need to be out there helping them. But you'd have been very proud of that staff in some very, very tough situations over the past few weeks. I'm very proud of our school staff, those parapros, all those people that are out there helping, getting school going and greeting their kids and getting everything on a positive note. Just good stuff. That's all I can say. Just as an announcement, I'd like to formally announce that we've received, give Mr. Kent a lot of credit, received a $250,000 grant, round 2 of our Georgia Safe Schools grant. It's a federal grant that had some money available. That money will be, or let me say this, it was formally approved by the state board on January 11th. We're one of 58 school districts, and some of those were charter schools that got that money, but one of 58 that were awarded those grants from across the state. funds in our district were going to be allocated to assist with the installation of a flock license plate reader system at all of our schools. You'll be hearing more about that in the coming months. We've got to go through some training sessions to understand all the processes all the hoops we're going to have to jump through with that federal money. But we'll be embracing with the State Department to try to get that in place as soon as possible. It is just one additional layer of safety for our students and our staff to be able to install those at our school. Many situations this year have occurred that if we would have had a card reader system or license plate reader system intact, things could have been diverted. We've seen a situation in the last few weeks that we could have diverted if we would have had a card reader system in place. So we certainly see a need for that and excited about where we're going there. We've got a few board items. I'm going to let Mr. Farmer give you some updates on HEROES and other projects that he may have on the list, but give him a chance to get you up to date on that. HEROES looks great, by the way.
Thank you, Mr. Schofield, Dr. Board, Dr. Brown, and Board. I appreciate the opportunity to, sometimes I get a little ahead of myself, the opportunity to speak and kind of fill you in on how HEROES is going. It's at an accelerated pace, and as you see here on our project update, there's a lot of great things happening. A couple I want to just point out, we are to the point now to where we can provide temporary heat in our building, which allows us to begin the interior processes of painting and things like that. So very proud, appreciate the partnership once again with Carol Daniel in making that happen. HVAC equipment is being installed on the roof, and connections are being made, and all these things are huge compared to where we were last year with Legacy at this time period. So very excited about that. Fire lines, low voltage is being installed. Some of the things that are up and coming, we had started back on the outside grading to try and go ahead and get the sub base and the asphalt topping finished and finalized. So that'll be in the upcoming. Power will be on at HEROES mid-February. There's another great accomplishment. Once again, that gives us power, so we don't have to have temporary generators come in. So all those things are great. Let's go to the pictures. This kind of gives you a visual. The final utilities are being installed, as you can tell in the top slide. The brick veneer is continuing. We hope to be complete with that in March. The CM walls are completed already. Let's go to the next picture. This is some of the low voltage I was speaking about. You can already see the painting that and primer that is being put on the walls. Below, the windows are being installed, which once again, this is a very crucial step to make sure that not only the building is completely in the dry, but we can use that interior heat also to our advantage. This is a picture of the kitchen floor and the cafeteria, and in the kitchen, sorry. The units have already been set, and the doors have been set on those freezers and coolers also. Just some of the detail of the framing that takes place over the staircases. And this is the overall view of HEROES Elementary. On the outside, you can see a lot of activity around the building, some of the grading being completed. And next time you see it, it'll even look different. So very excited about it. Really excited about the progress that's being made, and we're on track. So any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farmer. We've got a few board items that we would like for the board to consider approving on Monday nights. I'd like to present these three items. The first is a resolution to amend an FY21 capital outlay application. I want the board to understand it's a very strategic process used to maximize our ability to use our capital outlay funds from the state. And in doing that, you have to pay out. We're in advanced funding right now with the funds we received for HEROES Elementary. My goal is to get us paid out of advanced funding as soon as possible. With our entitlement from last year, we were going to be about $1.4 million short of that goal of paying out and being able to tap into additional funds this coming summer. With this resolution to amend this, It'll allow us to pay out of advanced funding and have about $1.4 million to the good, plus our entitlement from this upcoming year to use for the next project, next eligible needs. And we've kind of identified some of those needs that we can apply for this coming summer on jobs that we anticipate. This particular project, this capital outlay application was for a HVAC project at East High. This application was made the summer of 19, was approved the summer of 20. It's only have a 5-year time frame. So by the end of next year, that's going to be out the door and those funds will not be available. So we believe it's in our best interest to go ahead and amend this application, get these funds to pay off, get out of advanced funding and move forward with the next applications this next summer. Any questions about this board item?
So we didn't use that money for HVAC?
We did not.
Hold on for a little while.
That's correct. We have met with our staff, met with Mr. Farmer and his HVAC staff, his supervisors. That was the key to this, is how long can we hold off? They still have units that go out at any of our schools that are at that age, but they're very confident that we can replace those units. They've kind of changed some of their processes at East. There's going to be a time where we have to replace those units, but it will take at least a year to get all those units in place and to get them installed in that. So it would be the summer of 25 at the earliest. So I think this is the best use of our funds to be able to use it toward the next projects. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They did. Yeah. We did. And we have got a lot of original units on this facility as well. And this was a 94, maybe, 96 building, maybe. 90 building. So, yeah, we've gotten really good use. And that's a compliment to our staff over the years as well. I think good maintenance has put weight into that for sure. So the next large HVAC project will be this facility, kind of on our next year in 2025 summers. We intend to change this HVAC out. Any other questions? Okay, the next board item that we have to consideration is kind of taps into our progress at Heroes Elementary. When you build a new school, you've got to put new furnishings in there. So we put out a bid package in November, received it mid-December. We received 7 vendors that came to the table, I believe, responded. We had a committee that scored those proposals, and we would like to bring to you tonight the recommendation to engage with Ernie Morris as the district's furniture procurement vendor for Heroes Elementary. We had several things. This was a competitive still proposal. Weighed heavily into that proposal was the pricing of the items to try to make our vendors be competitive with their pricing. We were very strategic in that process. We believe we're going to get a good quality product at a reasonable price. Just as a round number, that bid came in, and understand it also includes our media furnishings, which many times have been pulled out. This particular project, we pulled it's normally bid through the contractor, but our shelving was pulled out. So with the shelving, this was approximately $800,000 as a base bid. We will work with Ms. Christie, Ms. Holloway, start picking colors and all that stuff as soon as possible if this vendor is approved. We'll begin that process next week.
I'm just curious, where are they located?
Ernie Morris is located out of Cumming. They have a warehouse in Cumming. They have they're an exclusive vendor for they're very popular, very much used across the state. I have a past life in that world as well, so I'm excited about joining hands with them and moving forward. I'm excited about what they can do for us. Very confident they'll get it in, get it installed. It's a turnkey process. So excited about that. Any questions on the furniture?
And I
Very
think
good.
we used a different vendor at Jackson County High School, a different vendor at Legacy Knoll, and Ernie Morris. This will be the first time that we've used them since I've been here. So.
That is correct. Something like that. It's right around there. We're going to have some deducts. That's why, we already know there's going to be a few items out of there that's going to be deducted, so we feel like it's going to come in right around that mark. take the trash off and do everything, get it. Yeah, it's a turnkey job. Yeah. So we're excited about that. The next item is really an item for information right now. We'll be providing a possible vendor in the next day to the board. This is for procurement of our playground furniture for Heroes Elementary. This package was sent out middle of December, was received on Tuesday of this week, and we have been working diligently on this, evaluating these bids. There were 5 vendors that came to the table on this. We're excited about that. That's a pretty good turnout for vendors on a playground project of this scope. We are trying to do our due diligence on this. We've been meeting with folks through virtual calls today, but we do have a committee formed there to come up with a selection. We feel like we'll have this nailed down by the end of the day tomorrow, and hopefully be able to present this to you all, that vendor, to you all Monday night for approval, so we can move forward with that. We're on a very tight timeline to get it installed prior to the August 1 or late July date. So we're trying to get verifications on that delivery and installation of the product. It's very important. So, any questions on that? Thank you, sir. I'll applaud David and his staff. Has done a great job. I'll turn it over. They've evaluated everything. I think ours is a leadership role. We just try to guide. So they've done a great job, and I appreciate it, and the folks that served on those committees. It's important. Okay.
We really appreciate. I've really thought about all of our folks during these last few days of terrible weather.
Mm-hmm.
Wondering what time all of our bus drivers have to get up so it doesn't warm, taking care of our kids. But we really do appreciate all of our folks working so hard to provide for our kids. It takes everybody.
A lot of work's being done. A lot of good things. Thank you, Ms. Wheeler. Thank you all. Thank you, board.
We need to have an executive session. So we're going to depart at this time. I guess I can't say it. All right. We will be back y'all good with us doing this, together, or you wanna vote on these separate? Okay, do I have a motion that we accept the two recommendations to, approve 1,000 state pension bonus and also personnel? Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, okay. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Good job.